Let's get more on this now. Joining me is Leslie Vinjamuri. She's a senior lecturer in international relations at the University of London. Leslie, so much to talk about. Let's start with these wiretapping allegations. We understand that the FBI or the Justice Department should have something to say about this, and yet we've heard not a peep out of them yet. I guess it is early on a Monday morning. Your take, though, on the wiretapping scandal, if you like, that Donald Trump is talking about?
Yeah, it was quite a weekend. It sort of came up very quickly, of course, on the back of Attorney General Jeff Sessions recusing himself from any investigations having to do with Russian invasions of the integrity of the election. And so Donald Trump didn't respond well to that, went down to Mar-a-Lago on his own and woke up and tweeted. And so now we have this very curious situation where the former director of national intelligence says that there was no wiretapping, no approval for wiretapping during his period of rule. And of course, the FBI director asking that the Justice Department make it clear that this did not happen. So it's a very difficult situation. Now, what could happen is that the ongoing investigations by the House and Senate Intelligence Committees could just look at this, and that would be a very easy resolution at some level. But politically, this is a very, very serious allegation, and it seems to be unfounded.
Everyone hunkered down in Mar-a-Lago, the Winter White House over the weekend. A busy week ahead, as if we've ever had a quiet one since the administration began. The travel ban, though, and Obamacare, both going to be topics coming up on the agenda this week.
That's right. Supposedly, there will be a revised travel ban put out today. Now, remember, this was an incredibly contentious travel ban. When it came out, it invoked massive waves of protests across the United States. And interestingly, the Trump administration has taken quite a long time to try and revise this. Now, what we're led to believe is that there will be some major revisions, that Iraq will be taken off the list of the 7 states. And that's very significant, of course, because the United States has been working with many Iraqis in the war against ISIS and in many different capacities. And also that Syrian refugees will not be treated differently from other categories of refugees. And also the protection for religious minorities will apparently be removed, which will make it harder to lodge an attack on the basis that it's unconstitutional for violating the rights of any religious group. So it should be quite different.
One of the things that's been plaguing Donald Trump's administration so far is this idea of leaks. There was a Washington Post article just the other day saying that there were 17 sources within the administration that this article was based on. So it's obviously leaking all over the place. This idea of a deep state, of some sort of forces in action against Donald Trump within his administration. Just explain for our viewers what this deep state might be.
It's a very curious term because usually the term deep state has been used to refer to countries like Egypt, not the United States. It's really the first time where you think, where you think about the United States and this term being applied. It tends to be adopted by those more on the center right. And the idea is that there are forces within the government, within the bureaucracy, especially with the intelligence communities, that are opposed to the president, that are leaking. Now, remember, leaks in the Washington, D.C., this is the way the game is played. Leaks are not uncommon, but there have been a lot of leaks. And there's a sense that there's a deep bureaucracy within the United States government. This is the claim, right, that's really fighting against the president, the current president of the United States.
Nancy Pelosi among the Democrats who've described Donald Trump, the president, as the deflector-in-chief at the moment. He says he wants to get on with his agenda and focus on what he's doing about jobs and all the rest. But do you sense that there's some frustration within his own staff? He says he's angry with them about Jeff Sessions and everything that happened last week, but they must be angry with him as well, maybe about these tweets in the early hours of a Saturday and a Sunday morning as well, just catching them all on the wrong foot.
That's right, because remember Tuesday after his address to Congress, there was a sense that had read quite well, actually, with the American public, and that there might be movement to move forward the legislative agenda. Everybody's waiting, right? Repeal and replace for Obamacare, tax reform, and a series of other measures that really now we're into the 7th week, that those first 100 days are crucial. And there is probably some dissatisfaction that there's so much energy being put into trying to contain the president, contain the tweets, and to contain the sort of distraction from his ability and their ability to really move forward a legislative agenda. It's no longer a new presidency, and I think really moving forward is seen to be quite critical at this moment.
And you mentioned Obamacare. We are expecting perhaps some sort of legislative plan to be outlined this week as well. So as we were saying, a busy week. Leslie Vinjamuri, thanks very much for coming in and joining us this morning.